Hello out there. This is Emmanuel Doche, Head of Tax and Account with Firmus Advisory Limited. We'll continue our session on VATs. The last time we looked at general VATs and its application. We looked at the various regimes of VATs, and also we looked at the upfront payment, 12.5 on the VAT importation. Today, I want us to look at a very exciting aspect of VAT, exempt supplies. What do we mean by an exempt supply? Exempt supplies are simply goods and services that are not taxable under the VAT Act. So if you are an individual or a business entity who is dealing in those goods, you are not required either to register for VATs on those transactions or even file returns on VATs. So what are those exempt supplies? First, we can look at live animals. So if you are in Ghana and you deal in live animals like cattle, sheep, goats, and similar animals of those nature, you are not expected to register for VAT, and you are also not expected to file VAT returns. However, if you deal in exotic animals, what do I mean by that? Animals that are not originally from this land. So let's say horse or hyena, ass, or certain animals of those nature. And we say you are liable to file for VAT after registering for it. We can also talk about goods for disabled people. So if you deal in goods that are purposely designed for the disabled, and that is your objects of business, you are not expected to register for VAT. Neither do you have to file returns on VAT. If you deal in educational items and also you provide educational service, you are not expected to file for VAT. Neither are you also expected to register. So if you are a school and you are running in Ghana, if you provide educational books and also items that are focused on education, provided they have been approved by Ministry of Education, you are not expected to register for VAT for those items. Neither are you expected also to file returns. Medical supplies in Ghana are entirely exempt from VAT. So if you provide also medical services like a hospital that you are running, if you provide equipment for the hospital laboratory or any other equipment that could be used by a hospital, you are not expected to file for VAT and even register in the first place for VAT, provided such items have been approved by Parliament, by the assistance of the Ministry of Health. And it is also important to note that there are certain essential drugs that when you produce or supply in Ghana, you are not expected to register for VAT and also file it. And if you also import active ingredients to produce these essential goods and for pharmaceutical use, you are also not expected to file for VAT returns. And the bottom line again, this should be approved by Parliament. And normally the guide is, when you look at our HS code in Ghana, section 30, that provides a list of all the active ingredients that are allowed to be exempt from VAT in Ghana. Transportation generally is also exempt from tax. We're talking about specifically VAT. So if you run a bus transport industry, if you also run maybe a railway or even a river or water transportation system, you are not expected because you are not eligible. You are exempted from tax. Air travel, domestic, used to be exempt from VAT, but not anymore. From 2024 June, these have been exempted. So if you travel by air domestically, you are expected to pay VAT on that transaction. Machinery generally for agricultural use are exempt from VAT. So we're talking about machines that you bring for your fish farming, machines that you bring for your horticultural engagement, veterinary engagement. Those machines, when you deal in them, you are not expected to pay VAT on them. You are entirely exempt from VAT. And if that is your object of business too, you are not expected to register for VAT and also file it in the first place. General machinery for our industry, if you deal in things like that, you are also exempt entirely from VAT. If you deal in mining equipments or items or equipment, machinery that are meant for dredging in the mining industry, you are also entirely exempt from VAT. If you deal in equipment that are meant basically for the railway, either in terms of the gauges or even the rail tracks, all equipment in this manner are entirely exempt from VAT. Crude oil and hydrocarbon products are also entirely exempt from VAT. So if you deal in the sale of petrol, diesel, kerosene, or liquefied petroleum gas, all these products, if you deal in them, they are entirely exempt. So you have a peace of mind when it comes to VAT transaction. If you also deal in land, buildings, and structures that are meant for domestic dwelling, the emphasis is domestic dwelling, you are exempt from VAT. That is to say, if you are building for warehousing and related businesses like that, that is not exempt. You have to pay VAT on those transactions. I think we would have to bring it to an end here. Thank you so much for your audience. In our next episode, we are going to look at zero rated supply. Catch you.